Hi there. Today's discussion is about the barriers to communication. In organizations, we speak to each other, we communicate messages to each other, we communicate messages to our customers, our stakeholders, our staff as a whole as well. So we use different types of communication modes. We use emails, we use telephone calls, we use websites, we use formal methods, informal methods, all are fine. But all of these methods, they have their own barriers, own resistance, own blockades. It make the communication inefficient. It make the communication less clarity. So on. So let's see what they are. There are so many reasons why the communication go uh, uncommunicated or go inefficient. Let's see what it is. When you do communication, the selection of your channel is very important. If it is about technology, using the right technology is very important. The appropriate technology. Wrong use of technology, wrong selection of technology may make barriers. For example, if you want to chat with someone using a phone call, using a WhatsApp call, using a botting, using a VoIP, Skype, there are different options. Okay, so which one is the right one? If you want to speak to someone based in Saudi Arabia using WhatsApp, making a phone call, it's not going to work because in Saudi Arabia, WhatsApp is legally banned, it's blocked. So you can't use WhatsApp phone calls to speak to a customer based in Saudi Arabia. So instead, what they do, they use the VPN. Okay, there's a technology. If you go through VPN, you can bypass the blockade of the Saudi government and you can speak to them. People, they do, and that is a crime, and that may make your call less clarity, okay, less clear. So it may be difficult for you to communicate with those people with WhatsApp. So that's a wrong technology selection. Okay, and if you want to speak to people, you have options. Let's say Zoom is a technology, a platform. Meantime, you have technologies like Teams, okay, GoToMeetings. There are so many different things. Zoom is appropriate for certain lectures or certain communication, whereas Teams is appropriate for some other different things. Zoom is less secured. In fact, what I mean is anybody can join the meeting if anyone can share the link, but Teams has some security to control the entrance. So appropriate technology selection is very important. Okay, otherwise you'll have the barrier. You won't be able to communicate appropriately. And the next one is about the improper understanding of your audience. Now, when I speak to someone, people, okay, they are the audience of mine. I have to know their capacity. I have to know their understanding. I have to know their knowledge. I need to know what they know. Based on that only, I can make my message. If I make the message wrong, if I make the message heavier, they won't understand. If I make the message lighter, they will be bored. Okay, so we should definitely find out ways and and mediums to speak to your audience. Before you speak, you have to definitely find out the audience as well. Who are they? Who they are? Can they understand me? What sort of message is appropriate for them? Will they understand my message? Can I use this kind of language? Can I use this kind of technology? If I want to speak to them, do I have to speak in their own language or some other common language? Do I have to show them some pictures? Do I have to use some PowerPoint presentations? Or if I tell them verbally, is it enough? So you have to study that. Okay, the next thing is about the language and the culture. Now, when I mean language differ country to country, region to region. Okay, so people, they speak English. In some other region, they speak Arabic. And if you go to German, they speak German language. If you go to Russia, they speak Russian. If you go to India, they speak Indian. So all these languages have their own culture. So some words that you use in your language may not work in some other language. They may not have a word like that. Some language you speak here, it may be offensive in some other culture, so you can't use it. So it will make some problems when you communicate. Certain language that you use, it may not be appropriate to use in different language. So we should definitely know the culture and the language of other societies as well when you go for cross-cultural communication. Okay, if you want to speak to an Indian, if you want to speak to a Pakistani, if you want to speak to a British person, you have to have an idea about their culture. Certain words you can't use, certain words you should use. If you don't know how to handle it, it may be a problem. Okay. Uh, the time zone and geography. What is this one? The time zone. Now I want to speak to one of my students. He is based in Canada. For them, now it is for me morning 11 o'clock. This morning 11 o'clock is my office time, whereas in Canada, that time may be midnight 11 o'clock. So if you call him at this time, he is half asleep or deep asleep, halfway down in his night. So it is difficult for him to understand you. He would say that I'm really sleepy. I can't understand nothing what you talk about. Let me call you tomorrow. So when you wake up, when he wakes up early in the morning, it is night for you. You are out of the office. So when he calls, you may be driving on the way. So it may make a difference, a barrier here to communicate. So time zones are problematic things that make barriers in your communication. And there are so many barriers that we have. So we need to be careful about the barriers of communication when we communicate. So you have to consider you cannot call someone midnight. Okay, you may be calling from Asia and you want to call someone based in England. So you're calling Asia 9 o'clock. That is about 3 o'clock early morning in the UK. So they'll be sleeping. It's not the right time. So you have to work on that time. Common time for both of you. Maybe you call in the evening, afternoon. That is early morning for him. That is how it works. Okay, so otherwise it'll make a barrier. They won't understand. They're not interested in what you're talking about. They may not respond to you. You may want to speak to one customer based in the UK, and you're calling them from India. When you call them from India, if you call Indian time 9 o'clock, that is early morning 3 o'clock. So 3 o'clock, nobody buys things. Nobody's going to say yes to your deal, your offer. That's not going to happen. So the deal is not going to get closed. So it's a barrier. So we should definitely know when to speak, how to speak, what language to use, what mediums to use, so that you can overcome the barriers of this communication. That's it. Thank you very much.